Okay, let's start the show.
It's May 28th, 2015. Welcome to This Is Only a Test, the official podcast of Tested.com.
Right.
Look at that fucking squirrel on my bird feeder.
And then suddenly, the Enterprise D's bridge.
You know, I'm Will Smith,
I did know
That is your name.
but I haven't seen any squirrels at my house since we stopped podcasting there. So I think it might be Gary that was responsible for them. Norman Chan, you're here.
He brought the squirrels? Is that
Yes,
what you're saying?
yes. Norman Chan,
He was responsible for the squirrels?
the squirrel wrangler, Gary Whitta, not here today. Jeremy Williams,
Greetings.
how are you doing today, sir?
Salutations.
You're wearing a Tron shirt today, it looks
Yep.
like. That
Things
is,
that we don't do anymore.
Super 7.
you know, I don't care. I'm bringing it back. A couple of lousy commenters can't take away the brilliance that was, hey, what T-shirt are you wearing today on a radio show?
Oh, this is pre-me. I don't know what you're talking about.
How's everybody doing today?
Well,
Today, well, today for us is
appropriate
Wednesday, but today for everybody listening is Google I/O Day.
that's right.
Some stuff is happening. Norm and I, let's see.
We are not at Google.
No, we're going to be on an airplane when the keynote starts, I think, tomorrow
Probably.
morning.
Yes, that sounds about right.
As with the let's see, the last Apple keynote, I think with the Apple Watch keynote happened while I was at America's Test Kitchen, actually. I couldn't talk about it then, but it was the first Apple keynote I've missed in years that they broadcast. And I was in Boston eating food and learning about Butterburgers, which was, I regret nothing, to be perfectly frank.
Keynotes are they're interesting though to watch, but from a reporting standpoint, the top tier reporters there already have the pre-briefing. Many of them.
Well, at Apple stuff, it's usually like 3 or 4 people get pre-briefed. At Google, it's a larger group of people. Is my
And if it's
understanding.
live stream, like being there is not necessary. Is my point.
No, I mean, for me, the more interesting thing that happens during the keynotes is people start posting so much on social media that they lose their filters, and you kind of learn what they really think instead of what they purport to think. And I think that's the interesting part of it, right? At this point,
I would have liked to have seen a Jobs note, however.
in person.
In person. Did you guys ever see
I saw a
Steve
couple,
Jobs
yeah.
speak? Did you?
I've never seen them in person.
I was there for one of the iPod Mini, I think, launch. Maybe the iPod Nano. I can't remember. It was Kanye was there.
In the audience?
He was the musical guest at the end of the keynote.
No kidding.
It was like old Kanye. It was like gold digger Kanye. It was
And now-
it was Kanye when most of the old white guys that work for financial magazines in the
Florida.
audience didn't know who he was. Yeah, Florida. I also was there for the Unibody MacBook launch.
Oh.
Yeah. That one was the only one I've ever been to that was at Apple's headquarters. The other ones were always at big theaters someplace.
Town hall meeting.
The one in the old town hall meeting, it is a tiny little theater on Apple's campus that is old. Well, Apple's old campus. And it was a very small group of people. It was interesting.
Well, Jeremy, you can get the proxy version of Steve Jobs' keynote with the upcoming film, Steve Jobs.
That's right.
You mean the one starring the Cooch? Ashton Kutcher?
No,
Oh.
Written by Aaron Sorkin.
Oh.
this is the Blacklist script, possibly.
Directed by Danny Boyle.
Directed by Danny Boyle. Previously not directed by Danny Boyle. It was going to be someone else.
It's going to be
And
Fincher,
then-
right?
Right.
Wasn't it going to be another Fincher-Sorkin collab?
I think you're right.
Yeah, and then actors swapped in and out. Christian Bale was going to do it and then not do it. And then now it's pretty much shot. Michael Fassbender, a teaser came out.
It's a pretty good teaser.
It was okay.
I don't think Fassbender looks at all like Steve Jobs.
From the front, but from the back, he's got the walk down.
That's what I was going to mention.
Right.
Did you notice that?
You mentioned you posted that he had the walk down. What do you mean that he got the walk down?
He has kind of an amble.
It's the gait.
Jobs, yeah.
Like Jobs.
What is the gait
I
of
would have.
Jobs?
I would have never thought that he had a walk, but apparently he does because this guy nailed it. You from the back, I said, "That is that Steve Jobs footage? Is that old archival Steve Jobs?"
It was like 2 seconds of it, not even.
hey, it's a trailer. 2 seconds is a lot.
But you were able to make the connection.
You didn't see it? You didn't see
Norm
it.
didn't study it that closely.
I didn't see it.
Oh, well.
So what is the angle on this? So the Kuchar movie, which was bad, right? Or has it even come out yet? Do we know?
It's on Netflix. You can
Okay.
watch it
Oh,
right
yeah.
now.
No, I haven't watched it.
Yeah, I heard enough bad things. So I was like, I'm not going to watch this one. This is based on a biography. What's the source material for this?
Three
So
product releases.
So this is the official. I believe it is the Walter Isaacson adaptation, but the framing of the book the film is not his entire life. It is segmented based on 3 product releases and the hours leading up to it.
Yeah.
So 3 momentous occasions, not only in his life but also Apple history, and what they say about him as a leader, as a person, and how he presented it. So 3 different parts of his life.
It's going to be the Mac, the iPhone, and
It's not the iPhone, I don't think.
I think it's the
iPod.
Yeah, I think it's
An
Mac.
iPad?
It's like Mac. We could look it up.
I'm looking up right now.
Why is this news though? Did this trailer hit since the last podcast?
It
No,
was
but
it was
I don't think
before
we've-
Mad Max for me.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just curious.
I hadn't seen it before. Of course, I don't seek out trailers. We were talking about Steve Notes somehow. I don't know how that happened either. I don't even know where I am. What's happening, Billy? What's my name?
Oh my goodness.
Google I/Os.
Start by talking about Google, and then you, of course, dovetail.
Well, it's what we
Into
do
Apple.
here.
I
Into
did that.
Apple.
I did that.
There's a bunch of stuff happening potentially. Project M is the big rumor.
Android M.
What's
Android
that?
M.
What's that?
Oh boy. Every year at Google I/O, Google does announce features that will come to the next version of Android. They're big steps, of course. They letter them as their code names. Last year was Lollipop. You have C, D, E, F, G.
So what's M?
H,
What's
I.
M's going to be Marshmallow?
And then typically the code names
Malamar?
for these big Android releases are tied to a dessert,
Something sweet.
something like
Sweeter-
gingerbread,
sweeter
ice
than
cream
an apple?
sandwich, donut, cupcake, Kit Kat bar. L is of course lollipop, and the rumor as what M could be is macadamia nut
Okay.
Macadamia nuts aren't
bar.
candy.
Dessert.
Malamar?
Anyway,
Bit of honey?
There's
I
a
don't know.
rumor about what the candy is. That's awesome.
That's one
All
one
right.
rumor. We're
All
talking about inane things. But last year with Lollipop, Android did have a big visual overhaul with the new design scheme and material design. And so now they are. I think the rumors are that Android M will focus more on functionality, on refining material design, and probably tweaks for privacy controls.
And
as everyone
performance
says.
stuff as well?
Performance stuff is always the case. Every time. What's unknown is what they would debut Android M on. Usually when they announce the OS in the summer, a product that launches with it doesn't come out until the fall, typically a Nexus device. Sometimes these Nexus devices have been tablets, sometimes they've been phones. The most recent one, of course, for Lollipop was the Nexus 6. But Google will switch with different hardware partners, and the rumors are that this year they're going to work with 2 companies for the Nexus device. I'm not exactly sure which ones they are. One could be a Chinese company.
Like Huawei or one of those?
I want to say that one could be an LG, a 5.2-inch LG tablet or phone, and then a 5.7-inch. Who is it? Huawei. Yes.
So what happened to the traditional Google Android versions of phones from big companies like Samsung and HTC and LG?
You're talking about the Google Play versions.
Google Play Edition.
They still do that.
Do they?
Oh yeah.
Is there one for the Galaxy S6?
No, there's not one for the Galaxy S6.
Is there one for whatever the latest HTC phone or the G4?
There's one, I believe, for the latest HTC phone. If
Okay.
you go to Google Devices on Play Store, yeah, they list them. I think the pricing is wrong. I think people realize that Google realized that people wanted to pay. They want to buy phones on
They
contract.
want a contract price in the U.S. at least, right?
Yes.
Anything else you think they're going to show? I mean, rumors about new Chromecast, Android TV stuff. Anything?
I mean, of course, everyone's the new Google Photos app, the best part of Google Plus, being split off from Google Plus.
The only good part of Google Plus, I
the-
would say, probably maybe Hangouts. I don't know.
Sure. And then, of course, maybe Google Cardboard, some Chrome stuff for sure. It's a big conference.
There was
a lot of
somebody
tracks.
important from the search team that just went over to the Google Cardboard team. Did you see that?
Yeah.
A major VP has been moved into VR. Which is,
Are we ready to jump into the VR minute?
I wasn't trying to do that.
No, let's hold off.
Yeah, let's let it. I like to let the VR minute build for a little bit. I feel like that's a good 45 minutes in conversation. Charter's buying Time Warner.
Can I just
Yeah.
the 3 events that are being covered in the Steve Jobs film are the original Macintosh, the Next computer.
The Lisa.
No.
Oh, the Next.
And-
At
and-
Next.
yeah,
Okay.
His second company,
When he wasn't at Apple.
That's confusing.
followed by the iMac. So his great return. So pre-iPod.
So it's all computer stuff. No
Yeah.
next. No future.
Right.
Future.
No handheld stuff.
Interesting.
That's really interesting.
There you go.
I don't remember either. I remember the Lisa being a big focus of the Isaacson biography, but I don't remember the next stuff he talked about a lot. But I don't remember the IMAX being a major point of the book. But I don't really remember the book.
I don't either.
It's been a long time. So Time Warner is buying Charter, or Charter is buying Time Warner. It's unclear how that works. This is all financial stuff that I don't understand. But the combined company will be equivalent size as Comcast, AT&T, and Verizon, which is different from the Comcast buying Time Warner situation, which would have made Comcast far and away the largest cable internet provider in the United States. So, yeah,
Okay. Do we have Charter out here?
we don't have
We don't
Charter.
have either
Those are
of
both
those.
East Coast companies, I believe. Time Warner is like Northeast. I know people in New York who have cable internet mostly have Time Warner. I don't know where Charter is. So.
Maybe LA fans will finally be able to watch the Dodgers
Wow, that would be nice. Why can't they watch the Dodgers, Norm?
because there are cable company conflicts. They keep them off TV.
Did you guys read the Johnny Ive, Stephen Fry interview?
No.
Yes.
Excerpts.
It was okay.
I did not think it was good at all. I thought it was
It
really.
was not. It wasn't one a great profile of the people or the company, and two neither was it a great Stephen Fry
yes.
piece.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
And he's a wonderful writer, and this was not his best work.
It just struck me as spin because they needed something to spin the promotion.
Right, so it was interesting. So the real thing that's interesting is that they used this, which was Stephen Fry writing for, I believe, the Telegraph, a UK paper,
Guardian, I think.
Guardian.
Don't mix those up. People get really upset when you mix up UK newspapers.
It's like Wall Street Journal, New York Times.
He was in the Daily Mirror, I think.
So it was neither of those.
No, I'm kidding. It's the Guardian.
So Stephen Fry, not only a profile of talking about his own relationship with Apple and a profile of Johnny Ive, but also using that as a platform to make an announcement about Johnny Ive's promotion.
He's a C-level executive now, guys.
It was on the Telegraph, right?
It wasn't the Telegraph.
It was in the Telegraph?
Yeah, it was the
Okay.
Telegraph.
Good. Thank you, Jeremy.
It's Google.
I thought it was the Guardian.
Blame
Blame me.
over here.
Well, they called it a promotion though.
It's a promotion.
Yeah.
So Johnny Ive was previously VP of design, and now he's the chief design officer. Now you can read between the lines 1,000 different ways, but functionally, what's different now is that instead of running day to day on both the industrial design and also the human interface, the software side, which he took over when Scott Forstall left the company. Now Johnny Ive oversees 2 managers of each departments, and so they promoted 2 other people beneath him.
For industrial design.
One for industrial design and one for human interface.
So hardware and software.
Right.
Yes. Also, possibly he's no longer live in California. He might be living over
In London
He might
again.
be doing more travel back and forth between home and home. Who are the 2 people he's now overseeing?
What are their names?
Yes, and what are their?
Are we gonna have
what
to
are their
learn their
paths?
names?
Oh my goodness!
They're people we need to know? Hold on. I'm getting there.
Oh my goodness!
A
week.
Let's see. I went to the wrong page.
I know the picture. He's like Johnny's in front of the two of them with his arm crossed. You know the picture.
Johnny looks really big in that interview. Okay. Robert something and Jimmy.
One is Alan Dye.
Richard Hogworth.
Alan Dye is the one that has gotten
yes.
most press lately because he is now head of Apple UI, was the one that kind of spearheaded and figured out a lot of the Apple Watch interactions.
I have thoughts about his work. The other one is Richard Hogworth. He's in charge of industrial design. Hogworth sounds like he should be a wizard.
Yeah, it does sound like that.
This is so the impetus for this, presumably the publicly stated impetus for this, is that now he can work on products and projects and not managing people. Johnny Ive, which I presume is a good thing.
It seemed like a superhuman amount of work that he was handed when he took over the UI department. He already had a lot of work to do. I'm happy that this has happened. The investors seem to have thought otherwise yesterday. The stock went down considerably. It's back up today.
I think
People slept on it.
I think that's a situation where, like, when you have a company like this, none of these guys are getting any younger, and it's really important that they build like if Apple is going to remain the most valuable company in the world going forward, they have to establish a legacy of people who are empowered and have the same opportunities that Johnny Ive had when he was coming up. I also would assume that as a C-level executive, Johnny Ive's compensation package has changed dramatically over what it was before. That would be traditional in a normal company, but I don't know if that applies to Apple because this hasn't happened very often in Apple's history.
Well, I guess he's already a very unique employee there in that he has an extraordinary amount of autonomy.
In a world of people, of employees who are not beautiful butterflies, Johnny Ive is the beautiful butterfly.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Rumor was he was offered quite a substantial sum to stay at Apple and not move back to England a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think soon after Jobs died. So he's certainly well compensated.
Well, you know.
And now that the watch is out, I guess.
What's the 10-year plan, right? Do they have more products?
Well, it's a kind of a, I don't know. Who knows? They got the bigger iPad this year, right?
TVs,
the iPad
cars.
Pro. The TV they told the Wall Street Journal they stopped a year ago.
This is we didn't talk about that.
It's kind of a slow
We
year.
didn't talk
It's
about
kind of
that.
a slow year for Apple.
Gene
Except for the
Munster
watch.
threw in a towel.
Right. Well, the watch, that's true.
Yeah. Gene Munster, who has been for 5 years, since as long as we've been doing Tested, talking about Apple TV, Apple televisions, not
He's
the
an
Apple
analyst.
TV box. He's an analyst.
Piper Jaffray.
And yeah, basically he said 2 weeks ago, I guess now, there's not going to be an Apple TV, which is interesting because right around now is the time that the TV market starts to heat up again, right? We're, let's say, 5 years out from widespread adoption of 4K sets. And in that time, you know, somebody in this time with the HD switch, Vizio was born and became a massive seller of TVs. Panasonic and Samsung and Sony all had massive growth followed by massive contractions. So, I think that there's an opportunity for somebody who's selling TVs who can ride that wave and survive both sides of it. But I don't think Apple is interested in that business.
Well, they were up to about a year ago, which is a lot longer than people thought.
Why were they making TVs? Why were they trying to make TVs?
That's a very
Did
good
they say
question.
it?
No, there's a Wall Street Journal article, and their inside sources said that
It goes back to the Isaacson book, where he said
where
that
they solved it.
one of the things Jobs told him was that he had solved what TV should be.
Mm-hmm.
He had the interface in mind. But that was it. That's all we ever heard. Ever since then, every analyst has had their, finger on the calendar. When is it going to come out? And it then never did.
It's next week at WWDC. 2 weeks from now.
Right.
Right. That's when it'll roll out.
Right.
9 to 5, also on Apple stuff, this is small. 9 to 5 Mac had a report that says that iOS 9 will be tuned to run better on older A5-based devices, including such things as the iPad 2. Well, they didn't specifically mention the iPad 2. They mentioned the iPad mini, the iPhone 4S, and presumably that also includes the iPad 2 because it's the same SoC. But this is in contrast to the previous generation devices that performed very poorly on iOS 8 and iOS 7.
You guys had predicted that this would be a maintenance year for the iOS. That it would be a sort of optimizations.
I mean, after both the tepid reaction to Yosemite and Mavericks on the OS 10 side, and the kind of janky, the last couple of releases of OS 10 have been the first in years that I've said, hey, don't install these right out of the gate. Wait until they do the point release a month later, right? They haven't been particularly reliable. There have been core problems that shouldn't exist in a release OS, especially when it's beta tested as widely. And iOS 8 wasn't much better. So I'm glad to see. I hope that they're taking a year to dial it back and kind of get fundamentals strong again, and then push forward with new design changes and stuff like that.
How about that text message that reboots your phone?
That's on the list.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That's good. All right.
It's great. There's a string of characters you can send people via iMessage or SMS. So that means anybody can do
Oh
it.
my goodness. List it out right now.
It's like Arabic characters. I don't know what they are.
If you want to send it to me and do a live demo, I'll do it.
Do you have the list
Really?
of characters?
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
s-
you can fix it.
You want to see a potential phone get bricked right now?
It doesn't brick it. It reboots it.
Oh, wow.
No, you can't get into messages until the person sends you another and sends you
You
another.
can't get into messages?
No. So the way it works is somebody sends you that message. As long as it's the most recent message in your iMessage chain,
Well, then you can
from that person,
you can unbrick it.
you can unmung
Yeah.
it yourself by sending yourself an iMessage to the same thread from your Mac.
Yeah. So the demo, there's no fear right now of
Right.
permanent damage right now.
That's true.
But I would love to see the demo.
That's great.
Okay, I'm getting the key
Are you,
code
you
right
going to
now.
send it to me?
Oh boy, are you gonna send it over Mac to iPhone?
Yeah,
all right. I need to be in the lock screen, which I guess I am now. I've turned off my phone.
Oh boy.
Okay, I got to find the text.
It's a bunch of Arabic followed by it's two English words like power, right?
Here we go.
What are the two words, Will?
I don't know what the two words mean.
No, there's two English words beforehand.
Effective power.
There you are. Effective power followed by some gibberish.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a great command. Effective power. Yeah. The key word, the key phrase. Chimera.
And you know this works if you send it from an Android device.
Wow.
Just saying.
Just as an SMS,
Yeah.
even though it doesn't pop up as iMessage.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
I don't want to know this. It's too much power.
No one man. I don't think this is going to work because now everything's going backwards in iMessage. You guys should keep talking amongst yourselves.
Yes. Oh.
Nope, that wasn't it.
All right, we're gonna let Will continue with this.
This is a
Hey
disaster.
Jerry.
Apple may release a fix before Will's done.
Hey Jerry, you want to
Yep.
talk about the VR minute?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Hold on.
See, now he's got to multitask the intro. Hit me.
All right, so Oculus announced this week they're buying Surreal Vision. Have you heard of this company before?
I had never heard of this company before, but people seem happy about this. Tell me why.
This is a small little company, right?
You continue, you're doing well. Yes, it's very few people. It's for mapping the real world and putting it into virtual reality, which is something that you imagine is down the road. Now, this what's interesting is that the people that they've acquired are going to be part of Oculus Research. It's the research team, not necessarily the product team. The only real product team they announced is the store department, the Oculus Storytime. Plus, of course, they've hired people to run their game studios. But this just means that they're looking into ways to map the world and to bring the world into virtual reality, which is one of the pillars of VR for Mark Zuckerberg. He bought Oculus to allow people to go visit places that they may not have the opportunity to visit in real life.
The very first demo almost every Oculus buyer of DK1 ran was Tuscany, right?
Yeah.
It was a Unity demo.
That was the Unity demo.
Yeah.
Also, a native Oculus Engine demo was the thing that came with the device. So that was the very first experience we all had.
Surreal Vision, I think it marks the company. With
Did your phone crash?
Oh, did you send it?
Send it?
I just sent it.
It didn't even tell me. Oh, wait. My phone told me.
Your watch,
watch told you?
I'm sorry. God, I can't get these two devices correct.
No,
The one on your wrist is the watch. The
Yeah.
one in your hand is the phone.
So I see it. So my watch did not crash. Let's see what happened. The phone, there it is. There's the gibberish. It came in as two messages.
It's not gibberish, just to be clear. It's Arabic characters.
It came in as two messages. So I think you did it wrong.
Huh. Oh, here. Okay, I'll try this one then.
Effective is a different message. I'll lock again.
Okay, there we go. Boom. Kill shot.
You think so?
I don't know.
All right. Watch notification. Oh God. My phone won't turn on.
Oh, cool. Well, okay, Jeremy.
Look at that.
$500 wired to my PayPal account, or I'm not going to turn your phone back on.
That's amazing.
Wait, can you hold the power button down to boot it up?
I mean,
This is nuts.
now come on. I mean,
This is an oopsie. And the forum threads are saying, hey, this was reported in 2013, and it just got widespread a few weeks ago. People have been using it to lock their, jilted ex-lovers' phones.
yeah, that's no
All
good.
sorts of bad news. Now, the good news is the fix is easy, and we can test this here, too.
I'm doing a reboot with the 2 buttons, and it's not even rebooting.
All you need to do to fix
there we
it
go. It's
is
on now.
go to another iOS. But actually, probably another iOS won't work because I bet it'll crash your iPad too. But go to a Mac and add another message to that same thread in Messages on the Mac.
Can't you send me another message?
I could.
Okay.
Wait,
But you
you're
could fix
rebooting
it
right
yourself
now,
too.
and it looks like it's rebooting. What happens when it boots up again? Are you just
I
not
assume
allowed
I
to
can't
use-
open iMessage.
No, I think
Let's
I
see.
think nothing's. I think it's going to crash again.
The whole phone.
I don't know. We'll find out.
We'll find out.
Okay.
Awesome.
So what does Real Vision do, Norm?
They do.
This is called the Ignore Norm episode of the podcast. After this, we're going to talk about puppies.
So the interesting thing about the way they're mapping the world is Surreal Vision is a company that wants to do real-time mapping and reconstruction of the world for telepresence. So not only is it like the Tuscany demo where you're loading a Unity map, that's not a real place. It's just a level design,
Right.
like a video game.
Yeah.
This is mapping and reconstructing a real place, but doing it in real time.
What does that mean?
Which means environment. It's using cameras
this
and then mapping the world with some type of camera.
You mean like on the
technology.
front of my goggles? And so I can see the world around me?
Or-
or some other place.
Yeah. So presumably, so like
Live?
the HoloLens.
Live.
is what they were pushing for.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So okay. So there's you described this, and I think of 5 different things this could be. Is this a telepresence thing? Is this like HoloLens where it lets you interact with the real world around you?
I think it'd be both.
Is this like a sports event / going to the movies / that kind of thing? Is this like a shared communal experience thing? Like you want to see Britney Spears live on stage?
Yeah.
It's both. I think if you can get one right, then you can do both right. If you can pass the test where you can map a world and reconstruct it and recreate it in VR and do it from a telepresence perspective, putting you in the seat of a place that's thousands of miles away, then there's no reason why you couldn't do that in the real world, or in the current location, map the world and have you interact through VR and add elements of VR into your world.
Right.
And so it's a version of augmented reality.
This
It could be a version of augmented reality as
So
well.
what is the media? Is it video? Is it like panorama stitched video, or is it geometry?
Yeah.
Is it like Connect?
I think they say model, and what that model means.
Yeah.
is-
Model.
I think that's to be determined.
Model to me says not video, that it's at least a point cloud or something you can walk around in, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. This is interesting. We'll have to see more.
Very cool.
Gear VR patent news, Norm.
So people who have dug through patents have found Gear VR patents, which apparently describe future features in the pipeline, in terms of how you can adjust the lenses. Let's see,
You mean like adjust them from IPD perspective or for focus or both?
both.
That's the thing I'm interested to see about Oculus at E3, hopefully, or at their upcoming press conference. So far, we haven't seen anything from Oculus that lets you adjust the lenses to correct vision.
There's also talk of, and these are just because Samsung's filed a patent doesn't mean that this is actually going to make it a future product, but integrating mobile TV and also potential health-related applications with sensors not yet present in Gear VR.
Mobile TV.
Yeah.
Where you put the headset on and watch TV, just like with your old Sony HMD, right?
Oh, you mean like some sort of input for a TV that would be in VR?
Well, it's for Samsung, so it would be the phone has a TV tuner in it or a streaming endpoint.
Oh, I see.
And then you can just watch TV, watch Hulu or whatever,
On a
or
virtual-
Samsung
on a
service.
virtual TV.
Yeah. Are these Samsung patents, not Oculus patents? That's
Samsung
interesting.
patents.
Does that tell us anything about the division of labor between Samsung and Oculus on Gear VR? Like, is Samsung designing the headset part?
Samsung has always designed the headset parts.
So, you know, they came to Oculus with the prototype.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oculus is just providing the software and working with Samsung for how to optimize their phones.
To like optimize the display so that they get low
They get 60
low persistence of
hertz.
vision, stuff like that. Okay.
By the way, it also was revealed, I think, this past week that HTC was working on VR before Valve approached
That's
them
true. Yeah. Yeah.
for the Vive.
I mean, I can see. I mean, it makes sense that phone companies would be interested in VR. They have most of the hard stuff. Theoretically, they have most of the hard stuff already done.
Yeah.
Screens and SoCs and accelerometers and gyroscopes and cameras and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not surprising that Samsung would want to think about at least putting things like EEG sensors on the Gear VR. You know, if you see those cat ear accessories, they're very popular. That people put the headset on, and they have cat ears, and it supposedly reads your EEG. Your brain waves, and then the cat ears wiggle. They're very popular.
Have you ever
at
seen those?
conventions.
No, I've never seen that.
Oh.
And it's an extension of those EEG accessories that people used to make, hardware companies used to make for computer games, where you could put a headset on and then play Unreal. And if you think about firing, squint your forehead and think about firing the rocket launcher, you will.
Did you find those to ever work?
Nope.
Yeah, me
not
either.
really. Not in the precision that they claimed. But it's not surprising that Samsung would think that because you're already wearing a headset, you have this contact with your face
Yeah.
and forehead to put those sensors on the headset so that you could have some further type of interaction.
Hey, the
It's-
more
it-
input, the better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those for what it's worth, you did manage to make the Jedi Training Academy thing work.
And those are all based on the exact same technology.
Yeah.
You've used that?
We did that a long time ago.
We did a video.
I bet you did because it's old, but
It's-
I would
yeah.
love to try that because I think I'd be good at it.
You see, I thought that too. We had to get really, really drunk before we were able to use it.
Really?
Really drunk.
That's
And then
interesting.
there are like traditional, accessories, embedded memory, camera module, stuff like that. But this is all very forward thinking. I don't think any of this stuff is indicative of what's going to happen by the end of this year for the consumer ready Gear VR launch.
Oh, that's right.
But Gear VR probably, as of right now, has the biggest potential for widespread success. Seeing that Samsung sells a lot of their phones, and they can get the cost down, and VR gets more mainstream, and then getting accessories out there, and having already iterated twice before Gear VR for Note 4 and for GS6, they can get a reasonable product out there.
Yep.
I mean,
And they're just tapping the Oculus software ecosystem anyway.
And Oculus just had a huge contest for a ton of VR for
The
Gear
VR Jam
Gear
stuff.
VR content.
right? We have a Gear VR 6, Gear VR 2, and a Galaxy S6 here, so we'll be doing hopefully some streams of some of the Gear VR games soon. So
Cool.
you guys will be able to see them, even if you don't have a Gear VR. Norm, I saw a Google representative say that they have plans to make things that are not made out of cardboard.
That's right. So we talked about, everyone has VR ambitions. HTC and Samsung both had developed prototypes before reaching out to their partners, respectively Oculus and Valve. Google, while their VR presence right now is just Google Cardboard, which I guess was just last year, I would not be surprised that at I/O going on right now, they were announcing more of their plans. But doing it the Google way really feels like I wouldn't be surprised if Google had their own headset. I don't think they would be able to optimize as well as Samsung Oculus have optimized the Note in GS6 with the Gear VR, for example. Their democratization of VR, of their technologies, because a lot of people have, Nexus 5s, Nexus 6s, all sorts of Android phones. I think it would be a lot of... they want to get most people in the ecosystem as possible, but I don't think that they are paying as much attention as Oculus and Valve is
No.
to the
It wouldn't seem
research.
that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a little upset at Google for even doing cardboard because it seemed like they weren't taking it seriously. It was almost like
They were serious about it. I mean,
but you know what I mean? I mean,
It's
it was
trade-off.
like the bare minimum experience, and it was going to turn a lot of people off from VR because it's very motion sickness inducing.
I felt like they were pretty clear about where it stood like even with people where they said don't use this for a long period of time, etc.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like that was okay, and it gave a lot of people a taste of something that they wouldn't be able to experience otherwise, which is really both powerful and I think good.
I guess that's the upside.
for the overall. Yeah,
It's the ViewMaster thing. I think it's the reason that Google Cardboard and whatever version they come out with next won't have a strap, because if you hold it up like Google Cardboard and you hold and you use them like binoculars,
Your expectations are
your
lower.
expectation and it's easier for you just to take them off.
Yeah.
And you think of it less as you're present in that world and more of you're looking through lenses and seeing a different world.
I just don't think a lot of people who try cardboard and cardboard only are aware of the difference between a higher end Oculus and the cardboard.
But I don't think those people who've just had the one or two experiences
Yeah.
with even a system like Cardboard, they can't distinguish those yet because they don't have hours and hours in.
Well, I'm just saying if
VR.
they hate the cardboard experience, I hope they don't stop.
I don't think anyone who's tried Cardboard has hated it.
Yeah.
immediately.
Oh, really?
I think the wow factor has
Well, that's good.
outweighed
Then great.
the discomfort.
Then great.
I mean, and the other thing about it is, like, we've tried bad, like, clamp onto your phone VR things before. That Fisher Price thing that Norm and I tested 4 years ago was immediately made everyone that we put into it sick. And they were selling that to kids.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the cardboard, for better or for worse, when you hold it up to your eyes, it's pretty good. Doesn't make me sick. It made you a little sick after a long time, Norm, right?
Not
Depends on the demo.
Depends on demo. And I think Google, the best thing about that Cardboard demo was the YouTube viewing.
Like watching the YouTube videos?
Wall of YouTube streams. And that's something that I think they're going to really differentiate themselves if they have some type of VR solution where you can tap into Google Maps and also Street View and also YouTube. That's a ton of content that you're not getting for
have
free.
They have the new 360-degree panoramic video mode in YouTube now, which still is you can't watch in the Oculus Rift. Unfortunately, I wish someone would make a viewer for that.
That's the big thing with Oculus. There's so many gating factors. It's way more of a walled garden
Yeah.
for content.
But just to follow up with the name, the lead designer of Google Search, John Wiley, has moved to be the lead designer of Google Cardboard
Interesting.
as of a few days ago.
Google doesn't make products. They make they make services and things that support their core business,
I mean,
which is advertising.
Chromecast is a product.
Yes, which supports Google or Android TV or ways to watch YouTube,
Right.
which is a way to sell advertising. So the products they make are in support of their business is not in selling products. Their primary business is selling advertising. So
Well, like Amazon. Amazon makes the same kind of products that
Well,
support their core business.
It's a little less clear what Amazon's core business is.
but it's very clear that Google's core business is, at least for most of its existence, search and advertising.
Yeah.
Making money from advertising. So how does VR tap into that?
I think they're just hedging and want to have a VR solution in case it becomes the next way that people interact with computers. Like if you look at the rise of the phone, and we'll talk about this in a minute because there's an interesting story about this. But for the first 10 years of the smartphones, there's been a lot of concern that mobile is going to eat the web, right? Like people don't know if people are going to switch from using computers at while they're at work and at home and stuff like that to do their heavy computing and just move to using phones as phones become more capable. And like VR has the same kind of transformative possibility for the industry. If VR becomes the way that we interact with computers in a heavy lifting context, then the traditional PC desktop interface could get completely squeezed out, and we use phones when we're on the go or at work, and VR when we're sitting at our desk or at.
So it's an interface play.
Yeah.
Where the ad's going to be displayed? It's going to be big screen, small screen, all-encompassing VR screen. It's a lot the same reason why Facebook bought Oculus.
Yeah.
It's interface play.
Yeah.
To paraphrase Dr. Strangelove, you don't want to have a VR gap, right?
I don't remember that line.
Well, they had a bomb gap. They were concerned about the bomb gap.
Right.
They weren't specifically talking about VR.
I think these are all baby steps. As much as I love VR, it's all baby steps towards augmented reality, where we're just wearing glasses like your glasses you're wearing. Both of these would just have augmented reality features on them, and someone's got to own that device.
It's like Sam Jackson's character in Kingsman.
I know. Are we ending the VR minute?
Is this
Yes.
the end of the VR minute? Okay.
Because I know somebody out there is concerned about my phone.
Should we fix your phone?
Yeah, let's see what is working.
I want to
what's
give you an
not working.
update. I'm back on. I can sign into my. You can see my password. It's all right. Okay. But everything works except iMessage. I can get online.
So when you launch
check my
iMessage, it doesn't work.
It just it launches and crashes back to the.
Now, can you fix it by going into that thread on your Mac and sending another message?
Okay.
So what we're asking you to do right now is on your Mac, open up iMessage.
We're asking you to. We're teaching a man to fish.
I never use.
You
iMessage
never use
on my,
iMessage
on my
on your-
laptop.
Are you signed in?
I am now.
Okay. Good to know.
Here we
All
are.
right, so
All right,
you
got it
see
from
the
Will Smith.
thread.
I don't need to add anything. All right, there we are.
Okay.
Oh wait, it's not.
It's not even updated with
It's
that
not even
the
updated.
code.
No.
Why don't you try just typing anyway? Because assume that's the thread.
Oh,
All right.
what was the pop? Oh, that was
It was
new
saying
iMessage.
I've logged in from another computer.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
sent hi, and it was for some reason I have a Will Smith thread up. No, it's not. It's still not working.
boy.
But this isn't synced. Can you send me another message, please?
Oh wait, there
Yes.
goes the message, and we'll just send.
I just sent you another message.
Oh, there it goes.
Hey.
Okay, you're back
once,
in business.
Once Will followed up with that thread,
That's
If-
nice.
that immediately fixed it.
If your jilted lover wants to shut down your phone,
God.
all you have to do is get them to send you another message.
Can I block you ahead of time? I could do that.
You
right?
could block me, and
Yeah.
presumably that will solve the problem.
Okay.
But I don't know for sure.
With new iOS, you'll get individualized message receipts for iMessage. Read receipts. Woohoo!
Hot Topic is buying ThinkGeek's parent company. So
Okay.
presumably, maybe there'll be a ThinkGeek store in your local mall.
What's Hot Topic?
This is the best thing ever.
Oh, you really don't know what Hot Topic is?
No, I know about Hot Pockets.
Jeremy Williams, what if you wanted to get a 1993 Lollapalooza T-shirt, but you didn't go to Lollapalooza in 1993?
eBay.
No. What if you wanted to get a cheap, new Lollapalooza 1993 T-shirt?
Really?
But you didn't go to Lollapalooza in 1993.
You tell me.
I don't think you've. When's the last time you went to a Hot Topic? Well,
I might have been prepubescent. I don't
Hot
know.
Topic.
What is Hot Topic now?
It's a retail outlet that's in many malls across America, and they sell lots of branded merchandise for a younger generation. But they do a lot of Marvel stuff, comic stuff, Doctor Who stuff, science fiction stuff, and you can get not only T-shirts, hoodies, but like trinkets, glasses.
I'm seeing Star Wars, Doctor Who. This seems like a natural fit for
Yeah.
ThinkGeek.
Minecraft.
Minecraft.
It was a
was a
joke for many people, especially because in the late '90s, early thousands, it was a place where like goth kids went to get their clothes.
Well, but then it was about then it was a place that if you needed a concert T-shirt from an era gone past, if you wanted like a Speed of Sound tour concert T-shirt, you could buy that at Hot Topic.
Don't think you do that today.
You're saying they would reprint them to be trendy.
They licensed them and then sold them to teenagers.
Yeah.
If you wanted some Simpsons, like for a long time, it was the place where you would go get blacklights. Maybe that was Spencer's Gifts. I always get those two confused.
Certainly, Spencer Gift had blacklights. Yes.
But I feel like there's a direct lineage between Spencer's Gifts and Hot Topic.
In that they're both mall stores.
I think that Spencer's got bought by Hot Topic.
I don't know. Maybe
Because the Spencer's in my local mall as a youth was turned into a Hot Topic eventually.
I mean, if someone's going to go to the local Hot Topic to buy a Game of Thrones hoodie,
Yeah.
maybe they'll want a Game of Thrones plush sold by ThinkGeek.
I would buy some Minecraft shit at a Hot Topic. Why not?
ThinkGeek already sells at Target. They already have
Really?
a distribution channel. Yeah.
Maybe Hot Topic is so bereft of value as a brand now that they want to bring ThinkGeek in. All those stores will be ThinkGeek stores and will be brightly lit, and you won't be able to get a cool studded wristband.
I
there
think that would
anymore.
be a great store.
I don't think that's a great name for a store, but
ThinkGeek?
ThinkGeek?
It's worked out so far.
Well, I mean, they have a brand now.
Yeah. Okay, so this is an interesting story. It's kind of datey, so we won't go too deep on it. But ComScore indicates that the growth of mobile traffic online in the last year or two, and we're seeing that, like our mobile traffic has gone up dramatically in the last year and a half, from like 15 or 20% of overall to almost double that on some, depends on like traffic sources.
You're saying half your traffic is mobile?
No.
Okay.
I'm saying we've gone from like 15 to 20% to 30 to 40%.
Okay, gotcha.
Counting tablets. The ComScore is saying that growth is not at the expense of desktop and laptop browsing habits. So they're saying that this is not a zero-sum thing where people are saying, "Oh, I have this much time to spend computing."
There's just more browsing.
There's just more. There's people are spending more time on computing devices. They are not taking away time spent in front of laptops and desktops to use phones and tablets instead.
I bet that's not true. I mean, I browse more at home now on my phone and iPad than I ever did, and I'm browsing less on my computer.
You're not a traditional desk-bound employee.
Well, I'm a sign of the times.
You are a sign of the times.
I'd be more interested to know how mobile traffic is segmented in browser, in app, what type of app.
Well, ComScore only does browser.
Yeah, I know.
So,
Well, but even on iOS, when you launch browser within apps, like on Twitter, you click through a link. Hopefully, you can be able to differentiate that.
so those show up as different types of iOS, as different code on the Safari browser, basically.
So good, yeah. I mean, that's what I would want to know.
Microsoft partners with LG, Sony, and other OEMs to sell Android tablets that come pre-installed with Office. I don't think that's a big surprise. Cortana is going to be everywhere
Yeah,
going forward. This is. Have you used Cortana much, Norm?
only on the Windows 10 preview.
Are you using the Windows 10 preview
No.
anywhere regularly?
On the Surface Pro 3, yes.
Okay.
But it's still too buggy as a
Yeah,
fixed system.
I have it on both my desktop as a dual boot, which I don't use very often because it's rough. I need to use that computer for work, so I don't use Windows 10 on it very much. I put it on the Spectre, the X360, the other day, and it's been, in that context, it's been better than expected. It's also the laptop that they handed out at Build, so presumably it will be one of the better supported Windows 10 preview devices.
Is Cortana always on?
No, it works kind of like the voice search in Safari, where you hit a button and it does some stuff. SpaceX Falcon 9 is now certified for national security and military launches. So that means Elon Musk's rockets can launch super secret stuff now.
Did you see that he started his own elementary school?
No.
Really?
Yeah, for SpaceX employees. Well,
Because there's no schools near the place in New Mexico?
No schools that he approves of.
Huh.
No, he actually started his own school for his own children because he didn't approve of the curriculum at their
Seems
school.
so cultish.
Yeah,
In New Mexico?
Little bit. No, I think down south here in the South Bay.
Oh, or in Fremont.
Yeah, wherever they have a SpaceX office here in California.
There's two. There's the one in Palo Alto where they do design stuff, and then there's the factory over in
Right,
the East Bay
oh,
in Fremont.
You're talking about Tesla.
Yeah, oh
I-
yeah.
I mean
You're talking about
SpaceX,
SpaceX.
yeah.
Okay.
I think
Sorry.
the SpaceX office is somewhere closer to LA, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, that seems right.
Anyway, he opened up the school for his own daughters, I think. Maybe he has a son. But anyway, his children. And then as other people in SpaceX caught wind of it, they started entering the school. And now there's a school for SpaceX kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
Exclusively? Like you have to be a SpaceX
I don't
employee
think
send
there's
your
like
there?
anything. I don't know. The article just said that those are the people who are attending.
Man.
I thought it was kind of interesting.
bring your dad or mom to work or to school day.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
right.
really boring.
Well, but
What does your mom do?
Man.
Well, she works at SpaceX. What does your dad do? Well, he works at SpaceX.
I mean, I can see if you. My daddy makes rockets. So does my daddy. So does my mommy. I mean, as somebody who's looking at putting kids through school in Northern California,
Yeah.
the idea of having a work-sponsored school, very compelling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you
and
know.
and you know it's going to be decent education.
Yeah, all I want is science-based education. That's
That's right.
increasingly hard to find in a public or private context.
Yeah.
The Large Hadron Collider is now fired back up, and at speed, it is doing collisions at 13 tera electron volts, 60% higher than it ever operated before.
Can you say that like Doc Brown?
Gigawatts, 13.66 gigawatts, tera electrovolts. It's 13 tera electron volts.
What the heck is a tera electron volt?
It's a billion electron. No, it's a trillion electron volts.
What's an electron volt?
An electron volt is a measure of particle energy.
Okay.
So I think an electron volt is, I'm not going to say this because I'm going to mess it up, but it's something that I learned in physics and chemistry, like at a high level in college, and now I don't have any idea what it is anymore.
Okay.
But it's a measure of
Particle electricity.
it has to do with basically the Large Hadron Collider smashes protons into other protons.
Right.
So the 13 tera electron volts is a measure of the energy that's released when they when they hit each
Oh,
other.
that's interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
It's probably like, like lifting a gram or something. It's probably a negligible. Actually, I don't know. Anytime you're talking about a trillion of anything, it's a lot. So I don't know. If we have physicists in the audience, which I know we do, I would love to have what is 13 tera electron volts in terms of like is it equivalent to lifting a mass? Is it power? Is it force? What are we talking about here? Because we could use some help, or we could look it up on Wikipedia.
Should we do a new segment on the show called "This Week in the Crazy Rich"?
I'm okay with that. What you got?
Well, I mean, I think Elon Musk would
school-
fit perfectly
Yeah.
in "This Week in the Crazy Rich."
Is there? Let's see if we can do it for 3 weeks.
Okay.
If we get This Week in the Crazy Rich for 3 weeks, then it's a segment. We'll bake it in.
All right. Item 2 this week in the Crazy Rich. Actually, item 2 and 3 both come from China. Item 2, the son of the one of the world's most richest men, bought 2, not 1, but 2 new gold Apple Watches for his dog.
Oh, what?
Well,
What?
he has 4 paws.
This is dumb.
Yes, that is actually dumb.
I don't think
Stupid, crazy rich thing. That dumb.
I don't like this segment so far.
All right, get rid of it. The actual real next item in This Week in the Crazy Rich. Did you know that one of the richest guys, or I guess he's like 370th richest person in China or something, spent years building a new office building
I did know that.
Oh, I've
in
seen
the
this
shape of a starship.
Like
Yeah.
a UFO, like a big ring, like
No,
a disc.
the Starship Enterprise.
Wait, what?
Specifically like an Enterprise, yeah.
I
Now
thought
there's
this was pretty good.
controversy.
Okay. Did he license this?
It is officially licensed
No.
by CBS.
You're kidding.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we know people at CBS. Those fuckers will rubber stamp anything if you write a big enough check.
Wow.
So, it's a Chinese firm's headquarter.
You got to Google this because the image is awesome.
The photos are
pretty good.
amazing, and it was I think it was broken by Mashable, but the building's done. So they've been working on this for a long time. It's a 260-meter long, 100-meter wide, 6-floor building, built by the founder of NetDragon Websoft, so an online game developer. So the building costs $100 million.
Is that expensive? I don't know what buildings usually cost.
That's
I think
a big,
that is expensive.
well, I mean,
But-
that's a big building. That seems like pretty decent.
Yeah,
What's
a big
Apple
campus.
headquarters is $1 billion or
That sounds right.
$12 billion.
I'm not exactly sure.
The East Bay Bridge cost like $8 billion, right? That was a lot of money.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it is reported that they reached out to CBS to secure the rights, and this is the first time that CBS licensed Star Trek for a building, which is awesome. Now, the controversy lies in whether Star Trek fans think that this building is shaped like the Enterprise or Voyager.
Yeah, it looks like the Voyager to
more
me.
It is
like
not Voyager. It is Enterprise E, and I could tell the reason, as any Star Trek fan should know, is the way that the nacelle parts of it connect to the engineering base.
Wait,
On Voyager,
Which one was E?
E was
E
the
is
one
the
for
movies.
First Contact, Insurrection,
Yeah.
Nemesis.
D is
That's the show.
the TV
G
show.
is
Yeah.
TNG.
E was a retrofit or was it a do-over?
E is no, it's a complete do-over, but it's a I believe
Is that the one that's buggy when they first take it out, or was that the original movies?
that's the original movies.
Okay.
The E is, oh my goodness, what class? Sovereign class is Enterprise E.
Okay.
Let's pull that up. Yeah.
Nice work.
Sovereign
It's good that
class.
you've devoted this much
I
mental
think
energy
your
to
Vulcan
this.
years just came back for a moment.
That's right. So the way you could tell that it's actually a Sovereign class building and not Intrepid class as the USS Voyager is, and when you go by the spaceship class names, is if you look at the nacelles, and on Voyager, which is a science vessel, it's a much smaller ship, the Intrepid class vessels, the nacelles connect to the rear. The part where the nacelle connects to the engineering, the body, is in the rear of the nacelle, so it doesn't stick far out back like the nacelles do in the Enterprise or even like the Excelsior class ships.
It doesn't have a
long
saggy
nacelles.
butt.
It doesn't stick out. The two nacelles themselves don't go far behind. Like if you look at a photo, Google Voyager, and you'll you might.
Okay.
There's an F.
That's in like that's like some alternate universe
Oh.
fantasy stuff. But
Oh, so you're saying the F isn't real, but the E is?
Yeah. See, you see how on Voyager
You use words.
the nacelles. I'm pointing to a picture on Jeremy's computer. The nacelles are more. They're squatter.
Yeah.
And they also move up and down, right? Doesn't it move
They
sideways?
do. They
and
do.
back
They
and
move. Do move up. And
Variable warp field geometry, I think is
That-
what
that-
that's called.
down. There you go.
Okay, is his office in the spot where the bridge goes at the top of the ship?
There is a large like penthouse office at the top where the bridge is, and I would be surprised if that's not his main office.
I hope that he has a captain's chair in that office.
I wonder if there's anything Star Trek inside. That would be cool.
If you got the license, you might as well go for it, right?
I would think so, but then there's a lot of extra expense. I guess expense is not an issue here.
This
Star
is
Trek is never big in China either.
Well, apparently it is big with one guy.
Big with one guy.
It looks like there's an
All that
Olympic
matters.
swimming pool in the butt behind where the shuttle bay would be.
I wonder if he's going to offer tours now.
Probably not. I mean, it's the last thing you want, really.
It's
It's a bunch of people tromping through your office.
It's wicked.
And that concludes This Week in the Crazy Rich.
Solar power? Can we finish talking about the Large Hadron Collider, or are we done?
Can I just ask you, is there any chance that the Large Hadron Collider could create fusion power?
No.
All right.
Doesn't work that way.
All right.
It's just splashing. Like, it just speeds up protons in a big giant ring and then smashes them into each other.
Photons.
Protons. Photons have no mass.
Yeah, protons.
Smashes. You've been there, Norm. You should know
Yes.
this. Smashes the protons into each other, which is a kind of hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Like, they're very, very small into each other at a very specific part on the ring, depending on what they're trying to capture. So this 13 tera electron volts is actually the full power to date of the collider.
I see.
It hasn't destroyed the world yet, so that's good. There
Yeah.
was a little small amount of concern about that.
So fusion would be fusing atoms, not just protons.
Yeah,
that right?
Fusion is when you take, for example, 2 hydrogen atoms and make helium,
Yeah.
which have the same number of protons, a different number of neutrons or something.
Large Hadron Collider doesn't do that.
That's not what it does.
Okay.
I mean, it smashes them at each other, and then what happens is all the pieces of the protons scatter.
Yeah.
And that's why they built the Atlas sensor. The Atlas is the most complex machine built by man, and it's designed to capture evidence of the different bits and pieces that explode off of the protons when they smash into each other.
God particle and such.
The Higgs boson.
Higgs boson.
We've got that one. Now they're looking for other stuff, presumably. So yeah, it's the fusion stuff is happening at Lawrence Livermore, and there's a place in the UK, I think, I can't remember, where they're basically they build a kind of magnetic container, like a magnetic torus, inside this big reaction chamber, tokamak thing.
Yeah.
That then they get really, really hot, and they pulse with lasers, like 30 gigawatts of lasers. Probably more than that, actually. It's probably a lot more. To heat a pellet of feed material up to the point that theoretically fusion will start happening.
Like on the sun.
Like on the sun.
That's cool.
As far as I know, those experiments have not gone particularly well and have also cost billions of dollars
Okay.
to date. But somebody's going to crack it one day.
In our lifetime, maybe.
Hopefully,
All right.
that would be a big change. Did we talk about solar power yet? Speaking of things that will
No.
change the world, there was a report that came out earlier this week that says that solar power is now the fastest growing energy source in the U.S., which means that the shale frackers have now been overtaken, which is good for everybody. 30% growth in 2015. Solar powers 7.6 million homes now versus 360,000 in 2009.
Wow.
Most of that growth is in California, Texas, New Mexico, Nevada, Arizona. So yeah, like this, we have for a long time, as long as I can remember, actually. I mean, because people were putting solar panels on their roofs when I was a kid, and as long as we've been talking about this, people have talked about when the hockey stick, when that growth curve starts to hit the hockey stick and makes the steep upward climb, and it looks like we're getting close. So
So how often do people expect to replace their panels as they become more efficient?
as I understand it, the basic thought is every 10 to 20 years. I mean, obviously they'll keep working for longer than that, but at some point I'm sure there's a formula that says, okay, here's how much energy you generate now, here's how much you could with the same surface area,
Right.
Here's what it costs, here's what the difference in energy versus the life of the panels, and and you plug in your variables and you'll know. The way that most people are putting panels in, one of the big things that's contributed to this growth is the idea that you can finance that the solar company will finance the panels by subsidizing electricity for you. So instead of paying upfront 20 or 30 grand to put your own panels in, you go out and sign a contract with Solar City that says, hey, you guys can use my roof to generate electricity in exchange for giving me a discount on electricity that I buy from you, rather than doing it the other way, one of the other two ways, which is that you either sell into PG&E when you have excess capacity and buy back when it's dark out or cloudy or whatever.
That was Solar City's business model. They kind of innovated that.
That is Solar City's business model, yeah.
A suggestion from Elon Musk.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the hack. It's the hack that makes solar work for normal people who don't have 30 grand or 20 grand to drop on something that will take 20 years to pay off. It's something we've talked about a lot. So you're in the middle of remodeling a house now, Jeremy.
Yeah, and I actually want to put solar on there eventually, not tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it's something that we have readied the roof for, so it's ready to go. And I wanted to put a conduit from the roof down to the power main, so that it would be easier for the solar guys to wire that up. But apparently the solar guys like to do it all themselves, so they weren't going to use the conduit anyway. So we skipped that. So whenever I get to it, I'll certainly let you guys know how it goes.
One of the things we've talked about, though, is that when people build houses and remodel houses and stuff here, like, there are decisions that you can make that over a 20-year lifespan, over a 20-year residency, will save you a ton of money on the house. There's entire initiatives that mostly come out of like the cold countries in Europe and stuff like that involve like serious insulation and making sure that there's absolutely no leaking in houses, and using special windows and special dryers and special dishwashers and stuff like that cost a lot more money up front, but then will pay off in energy savings over 20 years. Like one of the things we talked about early on the site are I can't remember what they're called. They're smarter homes, basically, that are incredibly well insulated. And the upshot is that on a house that's insulated and has human beings walking around in it, like the heat of a couple of incandescent bulbs, or like say running the oven for a couple hours a day, is enough to keep the house warm. Even in places like Sweden and Scandinavian countries where it gets really, really cold. And those things have taken off in some of those climates, but literally not at all here. Like nobody, there's 8 of those houses in North America last time I looked that meet that standard. So I'm interested to see, if that stuff takes off and if solar and all that starts driving people in that direction.
What about you? Solar?
We're not going to hopefully be in this house long enough for it to make sense.
No.
But the next house, yes, assuming we have the right view and all that stuff.
Right.
Norm, have you looked at solar?
I don't think I have enough surface area.
You should. I would think.
Maybe.
You're a flat roof, though, so it's trickier.
Have not looked into it yet.
Okay. And with the wind you have, not having a flat roof is bad, because we get big wind where you and I live. We talked about the iPhone death message. You're back in business now, right? I fixed you?
No, it's like it never happened.
And then the last thing is that Texas killed a bill in committee that would allow Teslas to sell directly to consumers in the state of Texas. This is, I think, the 3rd or 4th time that's happened. So,
yeehaw. And Maryland, just before that.
Killed another one?
No. Maryland said they could sell directly to customers.
Yeah, it's funny that Texas is all about the free market right up until the point that, somebody comes in and threatens a lobbying agency. I'm going to play some music, and then we're going to talk about what we have been testing.
Oh, man. Can I go?
Yes.
Because I got these for you guys. I meant to bring these last week. Now, this is very, very cool. So, a couple weeks ago, you guys were down at Maker Faire.
Yeah.
Or you both were, right?
Uh-huh.
And I was sitting in La Taqueria in the Mission, which is a delicious taco joint. And in walks 2 dudes from out of town. And they say, hey, aren't you Jeremy from the Tested Podcast?
Oh.
That's awesome.
I say, why, yes, I am. I was having lunch with Andreas, who's another fan of Tested, who did your skateboard.
You did the
over there.
skateboard. Yeah. Were you wearing a Tested T-shirt or anything to make you identifiable?
No, it's just my big hair, and I probably had my hoodie on.
Okay. Jeremy uniform.
Coincidentally, they had just come from the Tested office, did not find you here, were walking down Mission Street and saw me, said, what a coincidence, let's go in and say hi. So they did. I was so glad they did. And they handed me these things to give to you. Now, his name is Jack Dowd, I had to forget his friend's name. Forgive me, but the guy who handed these to me, Jack Down. These are cast screen used Spaceballs belt buckles.
Oh, cool.
Right? So I guess
Hail Scroob.
one for each of you, and one for Adam.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
I thought
That's
that was
fantastic.
mighty cool.
Scroob.
They were off
For the people.
They were off to New Zealand next.
That's awesome.
Very
well, we're
cool.
sorry we missed you. People come by fairly regularly, and we're often not here. So if you are going to be in San Francisco and you are going to try to stop by, a little heads up on Twitter is a good way to do it, probably.
And if you don't see them, I'll be at La Taqueria.
Yeah, Jeremy's always getting tacos. So what did you have at La Taqueria? Burrito, taco, quesadilla?
I loved both, but I went for the taco this time because I had been told good things and I'd only had the burrito.
The quesadillas there are pretty strong, too.
I'll try that next.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about the Apple Watch? Because we're getting ready to shoot the review, and I want to talk to Jeremy about this and see
Yes,
what his
please do.
experience has been.
Heck yeah.
Jeremy, you're 2 weeks in now, 3
Sounds
weeks.
about right. Yep, 2.5.
How you feeling about this thing?
I like when you take a dog's collar off, it looks sad and sheepish. Like give it back. That's my clothing.
Chloe lives without her collar on. We only put her collar on when she goes outside.
Okay. Well, my dog.
She's a nudist.
My dog had a collar on all the time. Whenever you take it off, he'd try to put it back on himself.
Oh.
That's how I feel when I take my watch off.
Really?
Yeah, I like it. And then in the morning, I look forward to putting it on. I did not expect that sensation, but it has become something that I enjoy wearing. I use no apps
Yes.
whatsoever. It's
Have you updated to 1.01?
right away.
Okay.
I went, as soon as I came out, I put that on. But I'm all about the notifications, and
Had you pared your notifications down in advance?
I'm not Will Smith, so I don't get the notifications that you do.
We get a lot of email because our emails are on the homepage of the website.
And I enjoy the notifications I've gotten so far. So no, I haven't had to pare anything down, but I'm enjoying it. I use the data face with all the info on it. I like both swipes. I don't
the
use
data face with the info on it?
I'm sorry, the watch face.
Oh, you use the ugly one.
The default one.
I looked at that one. I was like, why did they put this here? This is the least aptly design I've ever seen.
It's very data.
That's Gary's favorite.
The thing is,
He loves
it's
the
very
data.
utility. I mean, you don't have to figure out what is that analog time. Let me calculate that in my head. It just tells you.
This is a skill you presumably had since 2nd or 3rd grade.
It says 11:45, no thinking required.
Okay.
And then it's got me on my calendar, blah blah blah. As far as the what do you call these again? When you sweep
The glances.
glances, the only glances I use are the toggles for do not disturb and airplane mode and the media player. Those are the only two I use. Occasionally, I want to get my heart rate. I swipe over one more time. Could not tell you what any of the other glances are. I don't use them.
Are you using activity stuff at all?
Love the activity stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I stand up when it tells me to stand up.
Mine just told me to stand up a little while ago, and I ignored it, just like I always do.
I mean, it's a good thing. It's all good.
It doesn't know. It's really dumb about context for the stand up. So, okay.
And I enjoy getting feedback on how many calories I've burned. I'll go on a nice long walk, like when my dad's in town. We walked all around downtown, marched up Coit Tower, went to the Cable Car Museum. Nice long walk. Got a medal that day.
An achievement.
Yeah.
Okay.
And have you gotten one of those?
I've gotten a couple of those.
They like fly out in 3D. They're beautiful. The only thing I wish
missed that.
is that Apple would let you spin them around. That would be nice. But
Are you finding yourself using the digital crown?
well,
Or do you mostly use your finger on the screen? Because I noticed your screen is all smudged up, as is mine always.
I'll use both. Yes,
Okay.
I'll use both, but I don't mind smudging up my screen. And I'm impressed by the Ion X glass so far.
Okay.
It's not sapphire like yours, but it doesn't seem to have gotten any scratches.
So we were on location last week, and we can't talk about where we were yet, but we will soon. And it was really useful in the same way that a Pebble or something like that is when you're tromping around and you can't always have your phone out, right? When you're someplace that you're not on a computer, can't
Right.
have your phone out. But you're getting messages. You need to know if you need to stop what you're doing or if you can just deal with it later. I am really disappointed by the app performance still.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's unusable and should not have been included.
What
as it
apps
is.
would you like to use?
I mean, like Pay by Phone, the parking meter app is something that I thought, oh, this is awesome. Doesn't really work.
Okay.
The app for my podcast app, Overcast. Like, I would love to be able to drive and adjust tracks and stuff, change tracks and stuff like that, but it takes so long to load.
The media player won't control that?
The media player will do limited control. It'll do like light fast forward, light rewind.
Right, okay.
It won't let me change songs, stuff like that.
Right.
I look at it, and while it's really gorgeous, it is functionally no better than say a Pebble Steel, other than the fact that it's a color screen, and it costs a ton more. I mean, at minimum, the Pebble Steel is $200, and that's
you haven't used that
$350.
yet.
I've used the Steel. The Steel is the last gen.
I
one.
meant the Pebble Time.
No, we haven't used the Time yet.
Yeah, that's right.
But I the one thing I will say is the phone stuff works much better than I expected. Like, I find myself Hasselhoffing and using it as a phone fairly regularly if I'm
No
someplace
kidding.
people won't see me.
I tried it once, and my wife said that it sounded great, but I've never actually made a phone call on it.
Gary and I did a watch-to-watch call the other day, and that worked shockingly well. It's really inconsistent is my big complaint.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, like, I want the notifications list on the phone and the watch to be the same. And when if you have your phone open, like, say I'm driving, I'm using GPS in the car, and I get a notification, that notification never goes to my watch because the phone was on when the notification came in.
I know what you mean. And vice versa. Like, if you get a notification on your watch, it doesn't ding your phone either.
Yeah, it's super, super weird. Like, the way iOS handles notifications across multiple devices has gotten really janky. And I think they need to have a unified... Like, there needs to be a Apple ecosystem notification control thing that lets you say, okay, here are all the apps on all your devices that you can get notifications from. Which ones do you want to go where? Mm-hmm. Do you want this one to go to Apple Watch and phone? Or, if is it a board game? Maybe it just goes to iPad and doesn't go to any of the others. And like, there needs to be...
Do you think that that's a
smarter
level
approach
of
to that.
granularity that's not Apple? Sometimes they just want to know best.
I think when they opened up notifications as one of the ways, as the only way really that people who make apps can poke users to get them to do things that they want them to do, like spend money or enjoy their services. I think that they made it much more complex. Like, here's
a better question. Is that something that you think Apple's discussed and chose not to do, or
Right.
something that's just in their product line that they didn't have enough time to do that may come in the future update?
It feels to me, given the confusion that I have, and as somebody who knows what's going on, like missing. Basically, there's two tiers of notifications for me, right? There's the stuff that if I miss, I'm pissed because I made a mistake, and then there's the stuff that if I don't, I don't ever want to see, right? Like, there's garbage notifications, and then there's vital stuff. Every time I miss something vital because the phone or the tablet or the watch or the Mac behaved unpredictably, they've messed up. And it happens way more than it should, especially on a device that should be about getting me notifications that I need to see at any given time. Are you using the digital touch stuff? Your wife has a watch too, right?
Oh, you mean like drawing?
Yeah.
To my kids.
You're sending pictures to your kids?
Yeah, that's actually kind of fun.
Okay. Are they sending pictures back?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's actually more they're sending me pictures.
Okay.
Tapping, not so much. I thought tapping, I would need to do tapping, but since my wife is wearing it anyway, she gets the notification if I just text her.
Do you do heartbeats?
Never. But this is the best thing, is that my wife is now returning my text messages. Like,
Yeah.
this is why I wanted the watch, and it has satisfied that, so I am happy.
But I mean, literally, it's just because she had her phone in her purse or something and didn't
Right.
hear the phone
That's it.
go off.
That's it.
This is literally a problem that your $99 Pebble would have solved as well.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, she wouldn't have worn the watch because it was probably ugly. But the point is, like, Apple solved a problem that already existed, that a solution for which a solution already existed.
I didn't like the Pebble, the way it looked. I have the time on order.
Yeah.
It's supposed to ship really soon.
Yeah, they sent the backer survey the other day. Norm, you have a Surface 3 in front of you.
Yeah, a couple things. So Surface 3, which is not the Surface Pro, and this is something that I will be doing a review on soon. Big difference from Surface 2, which was an RT device, ARM-based device, is x86 running full Windows 8.1. Really interesting thing is that it also now has pen support.
That's
So
good.
it has digitizer
Is
pen.
it the same digitizer?
Same N-Trig digitizer, which is a separate accessory you have to buy.
Is the pen expensive?
It is, I believe it's fairly expensive.
So they're amortizing the cost of the digitizer through the pen sale, you think? Or is it a
Probably, yes.
touch? Is
No.
the pen smart? Does the pen have batteries?
The pen has batteries, 2 sets of batteries.
Oh.
because it has a backlick and the forward buttons.
It looks a lot like the Jot from.
I mean, the pen is the same
Adonic.
pen as the Surface Pro 3. Smart pen,
But pressure sensitive. Okay.
Um,
Does it lag?
not really.
Okay.
Anyway, the big thing with the Surface 3 is that it runs Cherry Trail, which is Intel's latest Atom processor. It's the 14 nanometer version of Bay Trail. And so the primary thing that this is going up against is entry-level Core M laptops. It starts at $500, which is the SKU is not great. 2 gigabytes of RAM and only 128 gigs of 64 gigs of storage, I believe.
That's it.
For
How much is taken by the OS?
about 10 gigs.
Oh boy.
And this version I have is 4 gigs with 128, but really is an entry level or secondary laptop computer.
So how much is the 4 gigs with 128? $600.
Let me bring up my SKUs. I believe it is either $600 or more.
You're using a Type keyboard with it. It looks like too, right?
Yeah, so the Type keyboard, they only do Type keyboards now. It is not compatible with the Surface Pro 3 because of their different dimensions. And then, but performance-wise, this is much better than an iPad.
Is
So
this one 16 by 9?
it is 16 by 10, so
Okay.
1920 by 1280. Actually, it might be even bigger than 16 by 10. But it's the same aspect ratio as the Surface Pro 3, except
Just smaller.
a little bit of a smaller screen. And the keyboard, I like a lot. Keyboard's also an accessory.
Another $100.
It is, I believe, $100.
How's the trackpad
No,
on it?
$130 for the keyboard. Trackpad's not great. I would use this with either the pen or the mouse.
Or
but we'll
touching
talk
the
about this.
screen.
So yeah,
Okay.
so 4 gigs of RAM and 120 gigs of storage is an extra $100, $599.
So you're looking at $700 with a
Potentially
keyboard.
$750, which puts this in competition with the Asus UX305, which is that 0.8 gigahertz Core M laptop.
Right.
But this one has touchscreen and a better screen.
Real. Once you start getting in the price range of real laptops, like that, that's
I mean, this
the
is a-
Spectre
this is a real laptop.
X360 is.
Does it come with this dock?
Does not come with a dock. Dock is also a separate accessory. But I like the dock. I don't think the dock is right for this computer. If you had a Surface Pro, I would say get the dock because it actually makes it much more usable.
But it doesn't. This dock doesn't work with the Surface Pro, right?
This dock does not work with the Surface Pro.
Is there a dock for the Surface Pro?
There is no dock for the Surface Pro.
So just to be clear, this Spectre X360 configured better is $799, $699, $899. They gave me a $800 price point. I mean, that's 128 gigs with 4 gigs of RAM on an i5, not a Cherry Trail.
And that's the big difference.
So for 150 or $200 more,
You're
depending
talking about
whether
a bigger
you-
laptop. So this is
Yeah.
something if you want to use it as literally an iPad substitute because
How-
they're treading that line between tablets and laptops. So this is their new netbook.
How does it work as a tablet?
Works fine as a tablet. I think it's a little too big for the tablet things I do. I wouldn't want to buy if you're buying something as a dedicated tablet. I wouldn't want to buy anything bigger than the 8-inch device.
So iPad Mini or
iPad Mini, Nexus 7, Dell.
What do you think about? So I've been really surprised at how many apps of things that I want to use are actually available on the Windows 10 store. You don't have Windows 10 on this? You're still running 8.1.
So 8.1.
What's the app situation? Like, can you get Hulu and HBO Go and all that stuff
This
in
is-
native form?
This is 8.1. This is full Windows.
So I'm asking, are there full screen apps that you can use with the touch interface, or do you have to use web browser?
You're just using web browser.
Okay.
But it's good. We'll do a full review of that in a little bit. Other things,
I mean, $600 for an Atom thing seems crazy expensive to me.
that's the point of the review. We'll see how Atom compares. And you know what? It's faster than the Core M in some things.
Well, I mean, I can see that. But
So-
I mean, the question here is, are you better off getting a $250, $300 Chromebook or spending another $500 on this?
I would never buy a Chromebook if you needed to actually do stuff.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about it in the review.
I know an 8-year-old who would love a Chromebook.
Chromebooks are very popular in schools.
Yeah, I just
They've
look at
done really good job marketing Chromebooks.
Yeah. I mean, you say that when we have no experience with Chromebooks in the last 2 or 3 years.
I think they're really good job marketing them
No, I know, but you say you would never recommend anybody buy a Chromebook.
because I can't do Photoshop on it.
It's different between saying you would never buy a Chromebook.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
But you said no one should ever buy a
I said
Chromebook.
I would never buy a Chromebook.
All right.
Okay.
For
Clarified.
doing my stuff on it.
Okay. What about the G4?
LG G4, it's their new flagship phone. Their camera is better than the Samsung Galaxy S6 camera. So if you watch
Really?
the Galaxy S6 review and that was comparable to the iPhone 6, the next step for this one is to compare it to the iPhone 6, but I suspect this is probably the best camera you can get on a smartphone
What's
right now.
what's changed on Android cameras all of a sudden that we're seeing good cameras on Android phones just in the last 2
They
years?
all kind of source from the same few camera sensors, and then it's software and lenses. This is a really wide 1.8 lens, and then the software is better. You can save raw pictures, and I think it's the only camera app I've used so far that in a manual mode I can actually use a slider to adjust focus.
Ooh,
Oh, that's awesome.
instead of tap to
Right?
focus.
Yeah.
You have tap to focus, but
Yeah.
when's the last time? I know you can't do it on iPhone. I don't know if iOS apps let you do it.
Do you trust it? Like, are you going past and like zeroing in on the focal point?
Does
I can actually do manual rack focus. Is that
that's
insane?
nice.
I like that.
Yeah.
Amazon Echo product ordering.
Have you guys used this?
No, I'm afraid to.
It's great. Even my wife, total, like, she's not one of us.
No, she's a
like,
normal.
Yeah, right. She loves Amazon. She loves ordering things through Alexa.
Explain how it works.
Well, it's the latest update from Amazon Echo is that Alexa can now place product orders for you through Amazon.
It's only stuff you've bought before, though, right?
Yes. So you have to be a Prime member, and it has to appear in your previously ordered list, and it can't be pantry items, and obviously can't be add-on items.
What are pantry items?
It's Amazon's.
Is that like the subscribe and save for toilet paper?
Pantry items are quote unquote exclusive items that you have to buy with other pantry items, so you get them all together at once.
Oh,
So
okay.
you only get that price
Got
and that rate if you buy, you fill up X number of items
yeah.
in your pantry.
It's like when you buy the diapers, you get a better deal if you buy something else at the same time.
5 other
basically.
things.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, you say, Alexa, order batteries. And she'll say, well, the most recent batteries you ordered were double A's in a pack of 8. Would you like me to order those? And you say, yes.
Can you say
She'll
Alexa order
done.
AAA batteries?
Yes, absolutely. Whatever is in your previously ordered list. So we've ordered soap, underwear. It's wonderful. It's
Buy
great.
underwear from Amazon?
How accurate is
Heck
it
yeah.
in terms of the colloquial way you talk about the products versus the product name?
Well, like we ordered 2 types of soap, Method soap. We have like dish soap and Mickey Mouse hand soap. So you might have to say order Method Mickey, and then she'll find it.
Got it.
But it works. It's like Alexa's the bomb. I think she's the best personal assistant of everything that I've used. I look forward to trying Cortana.
I thought about buying another one just to have one in my
Yeah.
office and one in the bedroom, purely for the Hue Light integration.
Okay,
And-
you're not going to ask Alexa like, you wish you could touch her, right?
No.
All right. Okay.
Alexa.
It's not her.
Not going
No,
there.
It's just turn down the lights.
Alexa, tell me a story.
Tell me a joke.
Norm, you went a couple weeks ago to see at Prop Store of London the Rick Baker retrospective auction, which is basically a massive collection of Rick Baker built props
That's
that
exactly
they're selling at the end of this week. Is it this week or
It
next
is
week?
tomorrow.
Oh wow!
This last 2 mentions, 2 shout outs. One, if you are interested or just curious to see what original props go for, check it out, propstore.com/Rick Baker. And we do have a few giveaways going on if you've watched our previous videos. So check that out. It is going all Friday. I'll be on there just to see. I have a few items there that I'm curious about. Another thing is Anovos, who make replica costumes and armor from science fiction films like Battlestar Galactica, Star Trek, and Star Wars.
They made your Spock shirt and your
they
command shirt, right?
Absolutely did. And if you saw the Adam Savage Captain's Chair video, Adam was wearing an Anovos tunic, for the Kirk tunic, at the end of that video. Novos is selling a kit for a Stormtrooper helmet, an original trilogy Stormtrooper helmet, for just $100 for a kit. You have to do some assembly, but
Painting?
no, I don't think any painting. Some finishing and some gluing, but that's a pretty good price.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That will go on, I believe, until first or second week of June.
Very cool.
So 2 quick shout outs for that, and that's it for me.
Okay. I've been wanting to talk about these for a while, but we're actually out of time. So let's call it a day today. We'll do more questions next week. Thank you guys for watching and supporting this Only Test. Jeremy, people can find you at Jerware on Twitter.
That's it.
Norman Chan, you're at Nchan. I'm at Will Smith. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you all next week. Today's outro is brought to you by BuzzClick, who designed the blockheads that are sitting in front of me. Woo! Thanks, BuzzClick. Hi there, I didn't see you. That's it.
This tip is just falling in.
So if you get a little bit in the hole, it's not a big deal.
Okay.
That was filthy.
That was from Premium Video.
Premium Video. Oh, we should mention that. That's still running right now. Lego with Friends with Phil Broughton is on. We are on episode 4 today. Phil has told us stories of pooping on the South Pole, making hooch on the South Pole, what it's like to see the sunrise for a month. 3 things that can kill you in a radioactive lab. We've talked about radiation as just being fire that you can't see. All sorts of good stuff. Phil is a wealth of information.
And how to make good tasting coffee if you're diabetic.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. So I highly recommend everybody check that out. The first episode's on YouTube, and it's for everyone. After that, if you want to see, you'll have to sign up, and you can do that by going to tested.com/membership. See you guys next week.
See ya.
Bye.